Hi everyone, here's some of what's heading your way tonight. Your news at 9.
We speak with Mercy and Freeman hospitals in Joplin on the financial impact the COVID-19 pandemic has had on them this year. I'm Caitlin Shive. That's coming up.
Local school districts are receiving thousands of rapid COVID-19 test kits from the state. I'm Zach Dodge with the story.
Hospitalizations are rising in hotspot areas as a fall surge of the coronavirus continues. I'm Jonathan Seri in Atlanta. I'll have details coming up.
Doug Heddy is weather. Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Aubie. The Parsons, Kansas Police Department arrests 2 people in a domestic violence incident involving a gun. Police say officers were called to Prairie Village Apartments for a report of an argument involving a weapon. Authorities say the suspect was in an apartment when he hit the woman with a gun, choked her, fired the gun into a closet, all while children were inside the apartment. The children were replaced with family members. The suspect and another person have been arrested. The owner of a Cassville water slide attraction pleads guilty to making a false tax return. 67-year-old Jerry Beebe owned Beebe's Roaring River water slide. Authorities say from 2015 to 2018, Beebe filed tax returns reporting income far lower than he actually made and admitted to destroying his business records. Beebe could face up to 3 years in federal prison without parole. Doug Heddy joining us now with our first look at weather. Another day of a lot of rain.
Yeah, just kind of crummy out there once again, like we have seen all week long. At least we warmed up enough where we didn't have any areas that had freezing rain or snow for us during the daytime hours. 36 was our low, 44 was our high, and we've just had periods of showers, even a few random little tiny thunderstorms across the region throughout the afternoon into the evening hours, and you can see the waves of moisture just continuing to work in. This is what we're going to see really all night long. Where you see the yellows, that's showing us the heavier amounts of rain, and this is just going to continue to work through the region most of the night into the morning hours. How much rain are we going to get, and when is it going to get out of here? We'll look at that here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. We're learning more about the pandemic's financial impact on local hospitals. KOAM's Caitlin Shive spoke with Mercy, also Freeman Hospital in Joplin, to see how it's affected them.
As people continue seeking care during the COVID-19 pandemic, the fight against the virus is impacting local hospitals financially.
Our measurement of revenues is about a $15 million reduction, simply because we had a period of time where patients were putting off their tests, they weren't getting out, things of that nature, but that's been the impact.
Both Freeman and Mercy hospitals in Joplin are experiencing a loss of revenue this year due to the pandemic, in part to the postponement of non-emergency procedures and the additional resources needed of equipment and staff.
It's obviously had its impact with the loss of revenues, but we're well equipped. Level 2 trauma center. We are prepared for what we need to do. We have adapted our rooms so that we can have 2 COVID units within the hospital. We have 1 in our ICU. We have 1 on our medical floor. But that's allowed us to be prepared. We're a large enough system that we just adapted.
Mercy Hospital officials said in a statement that the postponement of non-emergency services earlier this year has had a significantly negative financial impact on Mercy and virtually every healthcare provider in the country. And in addition, the cost of caring for those without insurance, of whom there are more than usual due to job losses, often isn't reimbursed. Chief Financial Officer Steve Grady with Freeman added that the federal government's relief funds have helped out, but things continue to change all the time.
We are blessed that the federal government provided some relief to hospitals early on in the onset of COVID, which allowed us to replace PPE and to not worry about the financial piece of COVID. Now, the rules of that continue to change. There were rules in April, there's rules in September, another update in October. So it'll be months before we know what the true outcome of those relief funds and what we can retain to put towards the COVID relief.
In Joplin, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
You can find Mercy Hospital's full statement on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. In tonight's KOAM News Now Insta poll, we are asking, did you wait on a medical checkup or procedure because of this pandemic? Your choices are right there. You can vote on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com/vote, or by using your app on your mobile devices. The results update instantly on our broadcast. We'll check back on the results periodically during tonight's show. Missouri schools are receiving thousands of COVID-19 tests. It comes as cases continue to rise in the state and hospitals struggle to keep up. KOAM's Zach Dodge has details on how a local hospital is doing on testing supplies.
Employees at Joplin schools unpack dozens of COVID-19 tests, the first ones they've had to use themselves in the district.
That this could help us possibly as a tool to stay in school.
The school district will be receiving more than 7,000 rapid COVID-19 tests, enough to test every student, faculty, and staff in the district, with results in just 15 minutes.
The crisis is not so much students testing positive, but it's staffing rates when we have staff either testing positive or in quarantine.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has sent 1.8 million rapid tests to the state, with more than 500,000 of them going to K through 12 schools. In Joplin, they plan to use them at least at first to test staff and teachers.
We're able to bring that teacher in, do the 15-minute antigen tests with our own trained school nurses, and then find out if it's positive or negative in order to be able to keep them in the classroom if it's simply the common cold or some other illness.
But schools aren't the only place that rapid tests are being used. Freeman Health System received 3 types of rapid tests a week and a half ago that they're using partly to get sick patients admitted faster.
Being able to have and utilize those rapid tests, we're able to place them into the appropriate units to get the care that they need.
But they didn't receive as many as they originally requested, and the ones they did have to be split between Joplin and Neosho. The final say on how many they got came from the state health department.
I know some of the things that they utilize or supplies that they use for the rapid COVID tests are they're short-handed, or they're in short supply. In larger metropolitan areas, they receive a higher allocation and they have higher priority.
In Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Carthage and Webb City school districts will also receive those tests. 30% of the 1.8 million tests in the Show Me stage will go to colleges and universities. The Newton County Health Department reports 3 more COVID-19 related deaths. Officials say all 3 were men. One was in his 70s, the other 2 were in their 80s. This brings Newton County's death toll to 33. The McDowell County Health Department is reporting that county's 15th death. This patient was in their 80s. Several states are seeing an uptick in hospitalizations and deaths as a fall surge of new COVID-19 cases intensifies. Second wave, as we've been hearing about, is hitting Midwestern states especially hard as facilities report a shortage of ICU beds. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seary has more.
Nationwide, we're averaging nearly 70,000 new coronavirus cases per day. In the last week, nearly 500,000 Americans tested positive for the virus, and now the fall surge is beginning to put a strain on hospitals. 36 states are reporting an increase in hospitalizations, including Wisconsin and Texas, where facilities in hotspot areas are nearing capacity.
We just need to be very cautious about restricting the people that are coming into our acute care facilities.
And as hospitalizations rise, so are fatalities. The average daily death toll now stands at 800, the highest number in more than a month.
Between our ER doctors and our hospital doctors, our ICU doctors, everybody's tired. They see the patients that are coming in.
The fall surge forcing some officials to rethink their reopening plans. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio says the city will soon allow thousands of small businesses to expand their storefronts to the sidewalk in hopes of generating business and reducing indoor traffic.
We do have an immediate danger of a second wave in New York City. We fought it back so far effectively. And so we're going to be very careful to make sure there is no continued danger of a second wave.
And a new report from the CDC finds that adults over 60 years old are more likely to comply with mask wearing and social distancing than people under the age of 30. Researchers say young people may be less likely to follow mitigation efforts due to social or practical factors. The CDC says young people with mild or asymptomatic cases can still spread the virus to more vulnerable groups. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seary, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor one of our 4 state heroes. Billy Gray Wolf served in the U.S. Navy from 1969 to 71, spending time in Vietnam. He earned several awards, being a USS guide, sonar tech, and ocean-going minesweeper. We are proud to thank Petty Officer 2nd Class Billy Gray Wolf, a native of Carthage. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Doug is on deck with a complete look at the forecast. And later in sports, Webb City and Carl Junction meeting in a rivalry matchup for the district championship.
Definitely turned out to be another raw, kind of nasty day across the region. Good news was our temperatures warmed into the 40s, so we didn't have to worry about any frozen precip for us today. But the rain definitely stuck around, really kicked in once again as we worked into the afternoon hours. Great time-lapse Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just outside of Seneca, Missouri, showing you those clouds, those showers across the region. In fact, rainfall continues to tally up about 3/4 of an inch for us today. For the month, we're sitting at 3.15, so for the year over 40 inches. So we're about 3/4 of an inch above where we should be, which we need because in this pattern, we do have these wet systems, but then we're going to have 2 or 3 weeks in between that we're not going to get a ton of rain. 44 northerly winds, 5 to 10. Humidity, of course, is up there around the metro. Just about everybody is sitting into the low to mid 40s. We're going to hold fairly steady for us tonight. A little bit cooler in northern counties, lower 40s, southern counties, mid to upper 40s with these light northeasterly winds picking up just a little bit, and these are going to increase a bit for us tonight and then again by the time we head into the daytime hours tomorrow. Still, we got a flood watch in effect on the Kansas, Oklahoma side, southwestern parts of Missouri, extreme southwestern Missouri, also Arkansas, just due to the amount of rain that we continue to get. Look at these bands of showers, even a few embedded little tiny thunderstorms in there where you see the yellows. That is showing us at least moderate rain. You can continue to see it working out of the south, lifting toward the north. So we can see from Carthage, Pittsburgh, Oswego, down toward Miami, some heavier batches of showers. And again, a few embedded little rumbles of thunder. You can see this little twist out across parts of Oklahoma, and then it'll snow out through the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. That is our main upper level system that is finally going to eject out over the next 24 hours. Once it passes by, then we get rid of all this rain that we've been seeing. Let's go through time. Here's midnight, still the bands of showers. Again, a random little thunderstorm continuing through the night. Here's 3 a.m. Let's go 4, 5, 6 a.m. bands of rain. So we're going to start the day on the wet side, and then eventually this rain will start to rotate out. I think it's going to be around until about the noon hour, and then it will rotate out. We're still going to stick with the clouds through most of the afternoon. I think our temperatures are going to struggle to warm up. 43 by noon, high temp of 45. We may get 46, 47 degrees, but that would be just about it. Cold tomorrow night, start to clear out. Temperatures down near freezing, but Friday looks better. Partly sunny skies. We start to warm back up as we should go into the upper 50s for highs. Still rainfall tonight, additional rainfall on top of what we've seen. I think a lot of areas are going to pick up another 1, maybe even upwards to 2 inches of rain. So we're going to have a lot of moisture to contend with. 45 tomorrow, morning rain, 59 Friday. Halloween looks great. I don't know what kids are doing this year. I don't know if there's trick-or-treating or not, but it looks great, 63, and then we fall back Saturday night. But a nice stretch of fall-like temperatures.
Yeah, that rain has been coming down at a pretty good clip.
Yeah, I mean, really since Sunday.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Doug, thank you. We'll catch you a little bit. Coming up, some advice for Election Day.
The election is less than a week away. I'm Chris Warner with some things you need to know before you head to the polls.
The election is less than a week away, and officials are giving some advice on what you can do to be prepared. KOM's Chris Warner brings us some essential tips from before you head out the door to the time you get to the polling place.
With the election coming up, we spoke with some local officials on things you need to know, especially with COVID. Newton County Health Department Administrator Larry Bergner has some pre-poll tips.
Before heading to the polls, I would certainly take caution to stay away from large gatherings, wear your mask when you're out in public, wash your hands often. If you're wearing the mask, try not to touch your face.
Once you get to the polls, Jasper County Clerk Charlie Davis says there's things you can do there as well.
I think one of the things that we're focusing on is encouraging people to wear face masks, wear face shields, things of that nature. We do not have the authority to mandate people do, but we are absolutely encouraging it.
Another good point of advice?
Make sure that you're ready to wait in line for a little bit and wear appropriate attire.
Davis says they've also made a small change to how you vote this year.
We will be using the styluses this year that everybody will be taking home with them. We do not want them back. And when you look at the way that the polls are going to be, everybody should be able to have the ability to vote without having to touch anything in the polling location except for the ballot.
Davis says there's also some don'ts when it comes to heading to the polls.
We do ask people don't bring your own spray and spray equipment down. The fear there is not knowing if somebody is bringing an illegal substance in and spraying things down on the equipment.
Additionally, there's some legal considerations.
Please do not wear any political attire to the polls, whether it's a political mask, if it is a political t-shirt, maybe it's your favorite candidate, a favorite candidate's button.
Davis says Missouri statutes prohibit wearing those items because it's considered electioneering. I'm Chris Warner for KOAM News.
We've also added some resources in case you fear election fraud or that your rights have been violated. You can find them on our website. See it right there, KOAMNewsNow.com. Again, in tonight's KOAM News Now Instant Poll, we are asking, did you wait on a medical checkup or procedure because of this pandemic? You can vote at KOAMNewsNow.com/vote or on the KOAM News Now app. Here are some results so far. The majority say, yes, I did wait. Again, you can vote on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com/vote or on your mobile device. Just ahead, how a situation in Philadelphia is being mixed into politics.
The presidential contenders weigh in on what's happening in Philadelphia after a second night of violence and protests. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. What they had to say from the campaign trail coming up.
Both the president and Joe Biden are weighing in on the latest unrest in Pennsylvania after police and protesters clashed for a second consecutive night. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard is in D.C. with more of the campaign trail as we're just 6 days from Election Day.
The longer he's in charge, the more reckless he gets.
Wednesday afternoon, former Vice President Joe Biden held a roundtable with health experts on the coronavirus. His campaign message has been focused on the pandemic and the president's response.
He gets his photo op and then he gets out. He leaves everyone else to suffer the consequence of his failure to make a responsible plan.
Biden and his wife Jill voted Wednesday in Delaware. Afterwards, he spoke about the violence in Philadelphia after police shot and killed a black man.
There is no excuse whatsoever for the looting and the violence. None whatsoever. I think to be able to protest is totally legitimate. It's totally reasonable.
And from his Las Vegas hotel, President Trump also weighed in on the violence in Philadelphia.
We're looking at the shooting, yes. We're looking at the shooting. And if asked to go in and help, we will do that.
While touting his endorsements.
He hasn't gotten, to the best of my knowledge, any endorsements, or certainly if he has, it's very few. I've gotten almost every law enforcement endorsement in the nation.
He then took off across state borders to a rally in Arizona.
6 days from now, we are going to win Arizona. We are going to win Nevada. And we are going to win 4 more years in our great White House.
The Biden campaign announced that former President Obama will join Biden for an in-person event on Saturday in Michigan. And Trump's campaign says he's scheduled for 5 events a day all weekend. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Cheese, please. Coming up, the connection between this pandemic and rising cheese prices. Still time to vote on tonight's KOAM News Now Insta Poll. The question, did you wait on medical checkups or procedure because of this pandemic? Remember, you can vote on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com/vote, or by using our app on your mobile phone. We're going to have a look at the final results in just a few minutes. Okay, COVID-19 has disrupted the cheese biz, creating chaos for those who produce and depend on cheese. The Wall Street Journal says prices for cheeses rose to near record levels in recent weeks, and swings in demand are disrupting production plans. Restaurant closures at the start of this pandemic collapsed cheese prices to the lowest levels since 2003. Then the government purchased cheese and other foods to distribute through food banks, and prices went up. Then pizza sales boomed, and people stocked up on food, including cheese. It's that roller coaster, right? There's always a then, which falls into the equation, so things will hopefully calm down soon, hopefully. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
PSU has received a $146,000 grant aimed at getting workers displaced by COVID-19 back on the job. You'll learn how they're doing it coming up.
Plus, Joplin Sports Authority throwing its hat into the ring with an offer to lease baseball fields to the city. PSU has received a $146,000 grant that will help both students and locals whose jobs have been displaced because of the coronavirus pandemic. KOM's Mike Mahoney visited Pitt State's Kansas Technology Center to learn more.
COVID-19 has cost a lot of people their jobs, but the experts at PSU say that's not the case in the plastics industry.
During this time of COVID and all this, the plastics industry is really actually booming because of the valuable necessity of the plastic product.
Pitt State and the Kansas Department of Commerce would like to see four-staters down on their luck from the pandemic grab a well-paying plastics job that can pay anywhere from $42,000 to $68,000 a year. That's why the Kansas Department of Commerce has awarded PSU's Plastics Engineering Technology program with a $146,000 grant, which the college will use to buy new equipment and create some focused 2 to 5 day long workshops that will help displaced workers receive college credit towards a plastics degree.
If you think about it, you look around, plastic products are everywhere, and somebody has to be able to design and produce those plastic products. And we're fortunate that we're one of a handful of programs in the United States that actually have a plastics engineering technology program.
Faculty and staff at PSU's Kansas Technology Center are especially excited about the grant because the new equipment purchased by it will help multiple groups of people.
Usually it's students. We're trying to help them get through a 4-year process to get good, high-paying jobs. In this case, it's nice to know that we have the ability to make an immediate impact to somebody that's lost their job.
In Pittsburgh, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
The chair of PSU's Engineering Technology Department hopes the plastics workshop is up and running sometime in early 2021. U.S. Senate candidate Roger Marshall and U.S. Representative candidate Jake LaTurner campaigned in Pittsburgh today. They talked to voters about multiple issues, including policing. Congressman Marshall says Kansas does a good job training officers, but thinks there is room for improvement.
Kansas is one of 5 states that requires an extra 40 hours per year of their officers for increased training. We already have programs for accountability as well, and those programs are working. Is there room to get better? Of course, and then I'm encouraging them also to hire more minorities as well.
Roger Marshall is running against Democrat Barbara Bollier, and Jake LaTurner is running against Democrat Michelle De La Isa. In the last council meeting, the city of Joplin voted to approve the first reading of a lease agreement for baseball fields with Parkwood Tournaments LLC. Joplin Sports Authority decided in a meeting today to put their own proposal forth to the city, which they say would be more financially beneficial to Joplin.
Ours would, potentially benefit the city more financially, and Parkwood, they are a for-profit, so it's going to benefit them as well. So we're just looking for the chance to do our jobs and do it well.
Doman also says he worries about the future of the JSA, Joplin Sports Authority, if the Parkwood lease is accepted. However, Parkwood officials say the JSA would not be affected by the lease. Well, a new survey is available for Joplin residents to give feedback on parks and recreation. People are going to be asked to assess current facilities and programs, also about their own recreational activities and interests. Here's the thing, though, only a randomized number of households in Joplin are going to receive this survey. So if you get one in snail mail, as it's being called today, the city encourages you to fill one out. The Economic Security Corporation in Joplin donated some land to the Joplin School District for its new soon-to-be-built school on Dover Hill. School district officials say this donation makes the design of the building that's about to be built more efficient, reducing project costs. In today's KOM News Now Instant Poll question, we asked you, did you wait on a medical checkup or procedure because of this pandemic? Well, this poll is now closed. Hopefully you had a chance to vote, okay? Here are the results. The majority is saying, yes, I did vote. And yes, I did wait. Thanks everyone for voting. Coming up, police having a hard time keeping things under control in Philadelphia.
Another round of violence and looting in Philadelphia. I'm Leland Vittert with how police are badly outnumbered.
Well, of course, another cold, rainy day for us today, but at least temperatures above freezing. So we didn't have to deal with any ice accumulations like we have dealt with the past couple days mainly on the Kansas side, but quite a bit of ice really piled up in our northwestern counties over the past couple days. Today, just rain. Our temperatures into the 40s, but still kind of a raw, nasty day. Great time-lapse Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course. That is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, 3/4 of an inch for the month, over 3 for the year. We're over 40 inches. Temperatures are going to hold pretty steady for us tonight, sitting at 44. Northerly winds at about 10. Humidity is at 96%. And around the metro, most of us are sitting into the mid-40s. We may drop off 2 or 3 degrees, but that should be about it. A little bit cooler in northern counties, a little bit warmer southern counties. Everybody cold, though, with our northerly winds kind of picking up. And that's going to be the case tonight into the daytime hours tomorrow, really even continuing into Friday as well. Still watching a flood watch, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and then extreme southwestern Missouri as the rain continues all night long. Look at the bands of showers, even a few random little thunderstorms, mainly just light to moderate rain. Where you see the green, it's light rain. Where you see the orange, that is mainly moderate rain, so pretty good batch. Carthage all the way down I-44, Miami up to Pittsburgh and out towards Chanute, Yates Center. So the rain just continues, and you can see this twist out across Oklahoma. Look at the snow really piling up in the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas, but our main upper level low now right across the panhandles, and it is finally going to get out of here, and that means we'll get rid of the rain, but we still have a ways to go. For us tonight, rain continues through the overnight hours, bands of showers. Here's 3 a.m. We'll start the day wet, so same thing all night long. Here's 6 a.m. Let's go to about 9 a.m. The rain starting to rotate out, but still pretty good batches around the region. Then finally the rain starts to rotate out by the noon hour, and then the clouds just kind of hang tough throughout the day. So I think our temperatures are going to struggle to warm up. 43 by noon. High temp of 45, but look at those north winds at 15 to 25, so that's going to make it feel colder than what it actually is. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy skies down into lower 30s. Friday, we start to see improvements. We warm up a bit into the upper 50s, and it looks pretty good on Friday. Still rainfall for us tonight. I think a lot of areas are going to pick up an additional 1, maybe even upwards to 2 inches of rain, so that's why we had the flash flood watch in effect. Let's jump into Halloween. Halloween looks fantastic. We're going to have partly sunny skies. We're going to start the day kind of cool into the 40s, and then we're going to warm well into the 60s by the time we head into Saturday afternoon. So really no complaints there. And it's going to feel like fall as we get into the weekend. 45 tomorrow, rain in the morning, 59 on Friday, 63 Saturday. Don't forget your cell phone. We'll drop your clock back.
Hey, don't count on it, though.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. I mean, that is true. But I mean, when I was a kid, we literally had to set the clocks back.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Do you walk in barefoot in the snow as well?
Uphill both ways.
Yeah, but there you go. All right, okay. Thanks so much. Coming up in sports, Webb City and Carl Junction volleyball squaring up for a district title. Plus, local boxer Jesse Cook seeing the ring from a different perspective. Sports writer Jacob Leonard has a story next.
Well, tonight is district championship night for Missouri High School volleyball. We have a good one tonight in Webb City. It's a rivalry matchup for the Class 4 District 11 title. Webb City faces Carl Junction tonight for a spot in the state bracket. CJ 2-0 this year against the Cardinals, but Webb City got them for the district title last year. In the first, Logan Jones, nice touch for Carl Junction. Other side, Abigail Stork puts it down for Webb City. But it's CJ claiming the first set. Jillian Kennedy, one of her 4 blocks there. Bulldogs 25-19 in the first. A second set, Jessa Hilton, really good tonight for Carl Junction, had 16 kills. CJ takes set 2, 25-19. So, try to close it out in 3. Salma Lewis, perfect shot to the corner. Lewis and Hilton really closed it out. Hilton, big block. Back to Lewis. She had a team high 23 kills tonight. Match point, of course, Salma Lewis finishing the job. Carl Junction does it in straight sets tonight. The Bulldogs, Class 4 District 11 champs.
It was super exciting, and we were really glad to do it again since we lost to Webb City last year, so it was a big accomplishment for us.
It feels so good. We were definitely looking for some redemption, and we got it this year. We worked so hard this season. I think coming together as a team, we really pulled it off well, and I'm so happy for us.
Tonight is also championship night at the Class 5 District 12 tournament in Carthage. First, though, got to find out who is playing in that championship. Hometown Tigers face Joplin in the semifinals. Winner gets Lee Summit West in the district championship. And the first, Joplin's Aubrey Ritter. A little power on that one, too much to handle. On the other side, Sydney Dodolski drops the hammer, but it's Joplin closing out the first. Allie Lawrence going cross court for the kill. Eagles get the first set 25-22. And Joplin kept it rolling. Third set, big time block by Emma Floyd and Angelina Schramm. Part of an 8-1 Joplin run. Eagles sweep Carthage to advance to the finals. So here we go, Joplin and Lee Summit West for the Class 5 District 12 Championship. That's the Titans starting off strong. Ashley Brees places it in the far corner. A few moments later, this time, Carradine Kirkpatrick going cross court for the kill. Lee Summit up 5. Joplin trying to stay in it. Aubrey Ritter hops up and drills it, but the Eagles drop the first set 25-10. Joplin falls in straight sets to Lee Summit West. The Eagles end the season with a 15-15 overall record. Well, after a successful career in the ring, local boxer Jesse Cook is ready to share what he's learned with the next generation of fighters. We caught up with Cook as he transitions to the next phase of his career in boxing. Jesse Cook is seeing boxing from a different perspective.
I was missing boxing, wanted another area to put my focus in and still be involved in it, and it was a good area for me to stay involved and have a lot of fun doing it.
Cook was 18-1-2 as a fighter. After a successful career in the ring, Cook is now in the corner as a coach and trainer.
Teaching what I've learned from my dad through all these years, so it just comes natural. My dad was a good trainer, good teacher, so just passing it along.
He's kind of moving on with life, but he has a love enough for boxing that he wants to do something with it, so coaching's the next step.
Cook is currently training his first fighter, Cameron Roan.
I've watched him fight, pretty tenacious in the ring, and just seeing that glory of winning, the look on his face, I just wanted to feel it, be a part of it.
Got a lot of drive, a lot of determination. He's very coachable. He retains everything I tell him.
Roan will fight for the first time this weekend in the KC Golden Gloves Regional Championship.
I feel good about it all, putting in this work and staying focused. A little nervous at the same time, but I hear that's normal, so I feel good about it all.
For Cook, his focus is on this weekend, not knowing what the future will hold.
For now, I'm just sticking with training him. I'm not bringing any other fighters on. We'll just see where it goes from there. I might pick up more in the future, help my dad out when he needs it.
This weekend's KC Golden Gloves Regional Championship will be live streamed on the KC Golden Gloves YouTube channel. Well, as Pittsburgh State football gears up to open its fall schedule this weekend, the university is making sure it's safe for all student athletes and sideline personnel. Now, the NCAA requires all athletes participating in a sport against outside competition to be tested for COVID-19. Pitt State administers sputum saliva tests, which the school pays for with grant money from Spark funding. PSU is testing on Wednesdays this fall ahead of their Saturday football games.
This is actually fairly rapid results for us, though. I mean, we're doing what's called a sputum saliva test with a company over in Parsons, Kansas, and we're collecting the specimens. They process the specimens, and we get the results usually in less than 24 hours.
That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Another controversial police shooting leads to protests and looting. This time it's in the city of Brotherly Love, where there have been 2 straight nights of violence following the shooting death of Walter Wallace Jr. Fox News correspondent Leland Vittert has more from Philadelphia.
Another night of protest, looting, and violence in Philadelphia following the police shooting of 27-year-old Walter Wallace. Several hundred demonstrators gathered Tuesday night, marching through the neighborhood where the shooting took place, chanting for police reform. But elsewhere, hundreds of others took advantage of the unrest to cause property damage and loot neighborhood businesses. There were dozens of arrests made, including some for attacking police. Anxious business owners are now hoping for a calmer Wednesday night.
They just do it because
the sake of taking advantages of the situation. So it's unfortunate.
Wallace was shot after allegedly refusing to drop a knife when he was confronted by police. They were called to the scene by Wallace's family. But the family says they were looking for help because Wallace was experiencing a mental health crisis, which they claim police did not take into account before they shot him.
The man was suffering. He was on doctor's care. It's emotionally taxing to think about how you could call for assistance and wind up with the people who you called killing you.
Local activists are calling for an investigation into what responding officers knew about Wallace's mental health condition. But some experts say the result would have been the same, no matter how much training they had.
In this situation, a mental health expert would not have done anything. This man was violent.
Several hundred troops from the Pennsylvania National Guard are on their way to Philadelphia to help back up the police, help that couldn't come soon enough. In Philadelphia, Leland Vittert, Fox News.
Got some news about a Saved by the Bell reboot. Hollywood Nation coming your way. A look at the new Bayside High. Is there going to be a screech though? That's what I'm wondering. Also, George Clooney's latest adventure, plus engagement news for two big music stars. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
A big announcement from Quake, Clooney's space thriller, and a return to the max in the Hollywood Nation.
I'm psyched.
Go Bayside. Peacock streaming service released a trailer for its Saved by the Bell reboot.
In attendance will be the governor of California.
Max Dad? Audiences get a peek at what Zach Morris, Kelly Kapowski, AC Slater, and Jesse Spano have been up to. Plus, an intro for their kids and a new generation of Bayside High students. The series premieres November 25th.
Is anyone out there?
Netflix sends out a look at George Clooney's intergalactic thriller, The Midnight Sky. Clooney directs and stars in the book-to-film adaptation about a scientist racing to stop a crew of astronauts from returning to a post-apocalyptic Earth. The star-filled cast includes Felicity Jones, David Oyelowo, Kyle Chandler, Damian Bashir, and Tiffany Boone. The Midnight Sky debuts on the streamer December 23rd.
You're the only thing that I'm chained to.
And congrats to Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton. The voice duo and sometimes duet partners are engaged. The two shared the news on social media along with a photo. Blake added a caption to Gwen saying, "Thanks for saving my 2020 and the rest of my life."
I could be happy anywhere with you.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Looks like there's not going to be a screech. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with video of puppies wearing costumes, checking out the Georgia Aquarium. Not a rough time at all. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.